wants to take the gay marriage issue.
Is it an issue?
Well,
is it an issue is my question.
It is an issue because there's a new mayor in the city of St. Louis, Mayor Slay. I don't know what happened. What happened to Mayor Rainford? I don't know what happened there, but 4 marriages took place in City Hall yesterday, according to your colleague Nick Pister, has the City Hall beat for the hometown newspaper. And this is more or less of a test case. They want to test the constitutionality of the state constitution, which was voted by the people, that bans same-sex marriage.
So yesterday, Indiana and Utah both overturned their state laws.
Judges did. Activist judges did.
McGraw. This is, activist judges. I mean, these are judges who are interpreting law.
Who overturned the vote of the people.
I think I want a constitutional amendment that says McGraw needs to shut up because, but that violates free speech. But that violates free speech. But the voters voted on it, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No nonsense. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is clearly a test case, right? This is
no. It is going to have to go through the legal system.
It will right.
And so I think what they're doing is they're actually putting together sort of the factual record and legal record to say, okay, these people have applied for licenses, they've attempted to get married, and so it will have to go through the legal system. And so
they only issued these 4. They're not going to issue
and then
any
they
more.
Stopped issuing them. Right. They don't want to run on gay
They want to get it decided.
They want to get it decided.
And that's and
this is how you get it to the court. And they're hoping for a streamlined entry into the Supreme Court, which I think they're going to have.
Sitting Attorney General Chris Koster is now going to challenge this, right?
Well, he has
to.
He has a constitutional obligation to defend the Constitution and the statutes. That's
even
his job.
though he has said on this program that he is in favor of gay marriage.
It is not about personal beliefs. It is about what the state law says.
And he has
the
to defend
Constitution.
the law.
He has to defend the Constitution.
Jerry Brown, governor of California, came out and said that he wasn't going to defend the Prop 8 case that ultimately was decided by the Supreme Court for the same reason. So Governor Jerry Brown took a different path than Chris Koster.
It's a little bit easier. I mean, technically, the Attorney General is vested with the authority whether to go in or not go into court on behalf of the state. So he does have that discretion. But by statute, the Attorney General is charged with defending state laws. You have to make sure that both sides are argued fairly, and it needs to be argued. And there is a constitutional amendment out there, and it's entitled to be defended. Everything that the voters vote on is entitled to be defended. That doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's lawful, but it has to be defended.
I think at this point there are 23 states that have legalized same-sex marriage, and it's clearly, if they're looking at the interpreting laws, this is clearly there's the way we're headed, and there's no really good this is just an effort to get us there more quickly.
I would give City Hall much more credit if they did this 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Then we would have been really on the forefront of this.
But I mean, now that popular opinion has turned, and now it's gay marriage is much more popular today than it was years ago. It sounds like this is more of a PR move than anything else down at City Hall.
I think it's legitimately designed to make the state look at its constitution and rule on this. And I think there's a huge push, which often doesn't get discussed, but by business. The business community no longer wants to have any kind of ban on same-sex marriage because it really prohibits the kinds of people they can get employed. So people aren't going to go to a state if there's a ban on gay marriage. That's just kind of what the economics are turning out to be.
And, and my view is, maybe they waited for public opinion, but again, I don't want to dog people who come up with solutions for things because we think, you've come to the party late. Well, it's better than not coming to the party at all.
I agree with Jane.
And so, granted, times have changed and it's more convenient now, but there's something to be said for the idea that you want to hit when you can actually get something done. And the Supreme Court decided that last decision on the benefits, remember the benefits case, and clearly that decision opened the door for this discussion.
And the Court of Public Opinion is an important body to have on your side. And if people because public opinion has changed, that's fine. I think it's good. It's people are saying,
go with God.
Joe,
I hope they get
do you want to chime in on this?
Well, I think that
As a resident of the city of St. Louis?
That's true.
As a
I'm a
res-
city resident also.
well, there you go. We have that in common as well.
HO.
These two.
I don't know what's going on here.
getting nervous.
My worlds are colliding.
I think in this case, obviously, what's been said is true. I mean, this is going to go through the legal process, and I would hope that the Missouri Supreme Court, or however far it goes, if it goes all the way to the Missouri Supreme Court, is going to decide this thing on the legal grounds, and that if there truly is the public opinion has changed, then the state, even if it isn't overturned by the Supreme Court, would overturn the law if that's truly what Missourians think is right.
Jane Duker, is this a state issue, or could this case ultimately go to the U.S. Supreme Court?
Well, that's the interesting thing, is it could, because the basis upon which, depending on which basis is presented to the court, but I'm assuming there's equal protection, and there's going to be some both federal and state constitutions have equal protection, due process, and those kinds of things. So if those claims are raised, the U.S. Supreme Court, in rare circumstances, will, construe sort of a state law constitutional issue, especially if it is, a federal constitutional right that's similar. And Missouri generally follows the federal interpretations of constitutional law, so they're similar. So I would be shocked if there's not a legal claim that would invoke the U.S. Supreme Court if need be. It's possible.
There's also an interesting juxtaposition here in Missouri. You have soldiers who are based here in Missouri on a military base who can go to a state and get married, live on the base in Missouri as married, but the second they walk off the base, they're not married.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, this patchwork of laws. So you can go maybe to get married in Illinois. Will that be recognized in Missouri? Unclear, but it will be on your military base.
Within the state of Missouri.
And you
state
can
of Missouri.
file a joint return in Missouri because Governor Nixon
has approved
that.
But
So
Governor
people's
Nixon's
heads
following
exploded
the
over
law
that.
on that.
He's following the federal
Absolutely.
law.
Right, yeah.
So that was a very, forward
So we're getting
move
there.
on his part.
Now, here's my question on all of this. And clearly this was a public relations move by the mayor's office. They planned it. It's Gay Pride Week. The newspaper was there. It was all. This was a PR move from the word go.
There was a ribbon on that package. You
Right,
might
exactly.
be right about that.
So they had four. Right, they handpicked the four couples. It wasn't just the first four random people who walked in. So this was, as Deb says, with a bow on it. This morning, I've seen some of the footage on it, and I was watching on the monitor Fox 2. And there is you see Mayor Slay, you see Mayor Rainford, you see some of the couples and family members, and then you see a man who looks just like a Catholic priest. He's wearing a collar with the collar. He looks like either a Catholic priest or it's a Saturday Night Live skit and he's dressed up as a Catholic priest. My question is, who is that Catholic priest, and what was he doing at a gay marriage civil ceremony at City Hall?
I have a really nasty comeback that I'm going to bite my tongue and not say.
Oh, no, please do.
No, you don't want to hear it.
Nobody's
It's a
listening.
nasty church joke.
Yeah.
However, I think that they wanted some religious witnesses there. That was the impression I got.
And a Catholic priest agreed to watch
I don't
this?
know if he was Catholic.
I don't know.
He could
I
have
don't
been
know
a
if
deacon for another
Yeah.
religion
Are
or something.
there other denominations
Yes.
that
Sure,
that wear those
Episcopalians
collars.
wear collars.
Yes.
Really?
Girl,
Yeah.
were you born yesterday?
I don't go to Episcopalian churches. I'm
Well,
not
I mean,
allowed.
What did you do?
Because he's
I'm
Catholic.
Catholic. You can't go to an Episcopalian church. What's going on there?
It's not technically a church, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was Joe Miller's comment, by the way.
There you go, which was a good, fine comment right
All
there.
right, so it wasn't. So there are other priests that look like Catholic priests. But
I
aren't Catholic
doubt
priests.
that the Catholic Church was there for that ceremony.
Well, it's not, because the other interesting thing is that there are churches that perform same-sex marriages.
Sure.
Well,
So when people say it's against the Bible, well, some churches interpret
I say
it.
whose Bible?
Well,
Right.
but some churches embrace gay marriage. Other churches don't.
Correct.
And so it depends on what your interpretation
Well,
of the
and
Bible is.
there's two different things here. You have the religious ceremony. So, when you get married in the Catholic Church has their own rules about what you can do when you get married. But then you have the civil side of it, which, they're two very different processes, and the Catholic Church would never bless a gay marriage at this point. So that's not going to happen. I mean, this Pope has been phenomenal. He's trying to be more inclusive, but they have not moved
But
on that
no
issue.
one's asking the Catholic Church to endorse gay marriage. They're asking for the state and for the city.
See, and that's why I agree with you.
I think because you
There's
cannot
a difference
combine
between the
this
civil
with
and
a
the-
religious
Right.
experience. It
Right.
has to be a civil undertaking.
Right.
Right.
And I think it has to be within each church's canons.
Right.
And,
I mean,
Right.
no one's forcing the Catholic Church to
Absolutely, and that
perform
is an
it.
Absolutely
argument
not.
that people
Right.
don't talk about. I mean, I don't think the Catholic Church is not. Maybe it is, but I don't think they have the ability to take a position on the civil part of it, the governmental part. But they obviously have every right to decide for their church and their dogma whether it will be recognized within the church. They're two different processes.
All right, that's Jane Duker, Deb Peterson, and the only one making sense today is Joe Miller from the Show Me Institute. Back in a moment with our parting shot on the Big 550.